Ah, yes, the infamous fireball in professional wrestling. We've seen it used over the years. Most famously, maybe, was Hulk Hogan and Yokozuna. There was a fireball that shot out of the camera at Hulk Hogan's face, missed him by a mile, but he took the bump anyway and got defeated by that dastardly, evil Yokozuna. One of my favorite memories as a kid with fireballs, and it was one of my earliest memories. I don't know about favorite, but certainly one of my earliest imprinted memories of professional wrestling was Global something. Was it Global Wrestling Federation? Was whatever the one that had like the Lightning Kid in it and Jeff Jarrett and Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert. And I remember Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert throwing a fireball. And that shit was fucking imprinted on me. The fireball. I've always wanted to be able to do that since. In fact, I've even looked into it. You know, like the magician's fucking fire paper or whatever, the flash paper. It just burns up so quick. You know, it's not going to, by the time it gets to your face, it's basically disintegrated into smoke, but it makes a big... Anyway, giving away the magic of it, but it's been used over the years, of course. Currently, Chris Jericho, the Wizard. Chris Jericho throws fireballs in people's faces. Always good fun. But where did the fireball come from? That was the topic of discussion on Talk is Jericho this week, as the author of a new book about the original Sheik, Brian Simmons, was on Talk is Jericho this week, talking about the book. And in the book, talking about the origin of the fireball, starting with the original Sheik. Check out this clip.
You mentioned throwing fireballs, and obviously I am a wizard. So I've thrown a few fireballs over the last few years, actually over the last year. But was the Sheik the first guy to bring a fireball into pro wrestling, as far as you know?
He was. He actually was the first. The funny thing is, They called him the original Sheik, but he wasn't the original Sheik. There were other wrestling Sheiks before him, but he was the first person to do the fire. Apparently he got it from... it was an old magic trick. And in the early years, because later on, they didn't even have Bic lighters in the 60s, right? They hadn't even been invented yet. So he had like a magician's trick. They would have this, I don't know how to describe it, but this thing you would...
Like flint?
Yeah, but you'd wear it on your fingers. It would be like an apparatus.
Yeah.
So that you could move your fingers together and you'd create a spark. Like it was really, really cool. Magicians would do it. And then he'd have the flash paper. And I think I have this in the book there, but he also taught, the only person he ever officially taught how to do it and officially said, you can do it, is Jerry Lawler.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he taught Lawler. Lawler was kind of a rookie in Memphis, and they had crossed paths in Tennessee, and they had a few matches, and he taught him how to do it. But there were a lot of other guys that did it, including people like Great Mephisto. I think Skandor Akbar used to do it. But these were guys that had, no offense to them, but they were copying him. They were copying his act.
Wow.
He wasn't always thrilled about it, but Lawler had his official stamp of approval. I don't know if he would have given it to you if you were here, But actually, one of the shows you guys did, if I'm not mistaken, when you did that, was in Detroit or in the area. And I remember tweeting something about it, like fireballs flying in Detroit once again or something like that.
Well, it's interesting because for me, like, I won't do that unless it's like a backstage segment, just in case. I don't trust it live.
Right.
But Sheik's throwing those things live. Then you mentioned the one kid said that you missed the one fireball, and Sheik got so angry at him, he threw a fireball at the kid while he was driving.
Yes, Tommy Dreamer told me that story. They brought the Sheik into the ECW arena one time, and it was Sheik and Taz against Kevin Sullivan and
it was someone of prominence. I can't remember.
Pat Tanaka. That's
right. Yeah.
The Sheik basically couldn't even. Again, he couldn't get in the ring, so the whole match was outside the ring, running around the arena. Stabbing Kevin Sullivan, hitting him with the ring hammer, and all this stuff. He threw a fireball, it missed by a country mile. And there was a fan that was driving them back to the hotel. So it's like Tommy Dreamer, Sabu, Sheik in the car, and this fan who's driving them. And the fan said something to the effect of like, boy, I really loved seeing you tonight, even though you missed the fireball, but that's okay. That's okay. And Sabu is back there going like, don't say that. Listen, you do not say that. And he turned, and this is the guy who's driving them. Tommy said they were going over a bridge, and he threw a fireball right at the guy. And the Sheik said something like, did I miss that time? Or something like that. So he took it very, very personally, his fireball acumen.
Brian Solomon, not Simmons, you fuck. Call yourself a journalist? God damn you. Brian Solomon, my deepest apologies to you, sir, and to you folks out there listening. Brian Solomon was the author of this book, Fire and Blood, about the original Sheik, the Sabu's fucking uncle, Sabu the elephant boy. I've just always loved the fucking fireball, man. I like that kind of magic in wrestling. The original Sheik too. What a fucking few people in wrestling carry that aura over the years of just fucking scary and dangerous people. That allure was more prominent in people that went to Japan. The Japanese kind of sold for those people more, or they were able to get away with more with the Japanese people. You get like a fucking Stan Hansen out there just swinging the fucking bull rope around and shit, hitting people in the head. Bruiser Brody, he's going nuts out there. Abdullah the Butcher was another guy that scared the shit out of people. And right up there with him was the original Sheik. That guy came out, he'd stab people in the fucking head with forks. He'd throw fire at them, or he'd just have a sword. He's swinging a sword around. This guy was insane. And apparently he always kept kayfabe, never broke that shit. Even referred to by his pastor as Sheik, as the Sheik. Living the gimmick, brother. To the point where this guy who wrote the book said that his family wouldn't even talk to him about the Sheik's career for the book to keep kayfabe. Maybe they don't even know. Maybe he kayfabed them. I like to kayfabe my kids. My kids still, I got a scar on my head from getting stabbed with a fork, and my kids still think I got stabbed with a fork legit. They don't know the matter. I'm not going to tell them how it happens. But it was fun. It was fun to get stabbed in the head with a fork. Look, it's good to learn a little bit about the original Sheik. I think these kind of people are good for our history. I think it's good to keep these people's names in the spotlight as much as possible. These people should not be forgotten to time. People that love hardcore matches, death matches. Look, we just saw Hangman Page and John Moxley just grind forks into each other's faces and shit. And that actually got a lot of criticism. People are kind of over all that blood and guts shit. I think it's more virtue signaling, to be honest with you. I think people that don't like, how can you like wrestling and be like, oh, I don't want to see blood, too much blood. Now, too much blood is, people can overuse it. Certainly John Moxley does, and it doesn't mean anything. When Moxley gets busted open, it's just like, busted open. So I get it to that extent. But there's a lot of you out there, too, that just like to virtue signal about it. Oh, he's too violent. Oh, it's so violent. Wrestling's supposed to be violent. It's fucking people fighting. Sometimes when you're fighting, you stab people in the heads with forks. Look, it's been a thing throughout history. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why it's important that people like the original Sheik are continually brought up within our culture here, within the pro wrestling zeitgeist. And this was a fun little interview on Talk is Jericho about the original Sheik, about the kayfabe, about the blood, about the fire, about the time the original Sheik almost died in the ring that was set on fire like a flaming barbed wire death match over in Japan. That damn near fucking, that did, I think, it certainly burned the original Sheik badly, but I think, didn't they say he had to go to the hospital after? I don't know exactly what happened, but it was bad. So, fun little interview. Highly recommend it. Only if you're into that kind of deep dive, though. I certainly am. I'm a fucking nerd. You're not going to get anything major or super topical out of this by any stretch. But if you have an interest in learning about these kind of characters from our past, look, the original Sheik was a trendsetter in the business for sure. He was a heel that never losed. That's a fucking word. Still call yourself a journalist, huh? Forgetting people's names, losed. He very rarely lost as a heel, which is a rare thing. He fucking played with fire. He played with blood. People weren't really sure how to read him, what to think about him. He was believable all the way through. And that kind of shit just fucking gets my wrestling dick hard. So if it gets your wrestling dick hard, highly recommend. If not, you can skip it. No big deal. But I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. Oh, yeah. Thanks for checking out the video. Yeah. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Ooh, yeah. Dig it!